Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. How you doing today? Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, and we are back with legendary investor Greg Dickerson. How you doing, sir?
Doing great, Michael. How about you?
I'm doing well. This is probably going to be an uncomfortable conversation for lots of folks to listen to because I believe that taxes are going to go up for everyone. And it's not going to only be the 1% or the uber wealthy or the billionaires, right? That's a talk track that's being put out there that the 1% are going to get hit and all of that. And
So you're going to share him with me now?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what I'm really seeing is the middle class needs to wake up because we the middle class are going to see pretty much everything go up, including taxes on lots of stuff. So am I crazy in thinking that, or you think it's just the 1% that gets hit? No big deal.
No, I mean, it's everybody across the board and number one, inflation. So inflation is a tax. So
Agreed.
everybody's already experiencing that. Number two, property taxes are going up pretty much everywhere because real estate values have gone up. So, one bright side of real estate going up 20-30% is if you own property, you did absolutely nothing and your property went up just because. But the downside is assessors know this and they are reassessing. So, that's happening in a lot of areas, even some areas where it's extremely punitive and like Detroit, people are just getting hit with these huge tax bills and they're having to go and, fight these tax bills that they're getting on properties that are worthless basically, but are getting assessed because of the way values are going across the area. So that's another one that's going to hit. And then when you just talk about straight up income, I don't know. We don't know. We haven't seen Biden's proposal, what he's going to do. That's all just talk right now. So we don't know what income, and all those things are going to look like. But we are potentially faced with homeowner tax credit going away, 1031 going away, investment tax credits going away. We do know that companies and corporations, the big companies, wealthiest people in the country, recently, the Bezos and all these other guys that didn't pay any tax. Yeah, they're coming after them, but that's going to have a trickle down effect.
Yeah. I'm glad you there's so much in there that I want people just to realize. And again, I say this to, I don't know, wake you up, I guess would be the word. I'm not really sure how to phrase that, but I just want people to realize that taxes are going to be going up for the next couple of years. And it is inflation. It is, these are things that the government won't talk about, but are just as real as income tax, right? Your income tax rate may still be 28% on the scale, but you spend money in lots of places, right? If food costs more, that's a tax. If gas costs more, that's a tax. And the other thing I want to talk about is this 15% kind of almost AMT for big businesses. That will have an impact, right? If companies have been playing the legal game and now suddenly they get a 15% tax that they didn't plan for, what do you think is going to happen? Prices are going to go up, right? It's just
how it
works.
AMT, just for people listening, that's alternative minimum tax.
Yeah, that was AMT.
So that means,
go ahead.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say AMT is something that historically was on individuals. It was canceled or closed a couple of years ago, but it was first instituted to catch the rich who were, using loopholes to get out, right? AMT was catching the rich and then they didn't adjust for inflation. And then suddenly everybody was caught and then they got rid of it. And what I think is coming to the big businesses is a form of AMT. They may call it something different, but it basically says Amazon, for example, can't do a gazillion dollars and pay zero taxes. They're going to go.
They're going to have a minimum corporate tax rate. We're seeing that, with the G12, G20, they've agreed on the global corporate tax rate minimum. So you could very likely see that from a corporate level and maybe even an individual level. And that's one of the things that I've talked about before is, I think you should just have a flat tax rate across the board. That's the easiest way to do it. Or even just a sales tax, consumption tax. And there's ways that you can make that, equal across the board for income-based levels in terms of, rebates, what you would get in terms of a refund for lower income earners. Everybody's paying consumption tax, but you get a rebate monthly or something to offset it if you're in the lower income bracket. So there's lots of ways to do it. But I think you're going to see a lot of those minimums come. The biggest thing that really is worrisome is the whole philosophy of, let's tax them and then distribute it back out to people. I don't think you want to do that. I think you want to tax it and use it for the right types of things. But just to flat out redistribute it, I don't think is the right, the right thing.
Yeah. Again, even the lower income folks, again, what a lot of people may not realize is the lower income folks disproportionately will feel the impacts of what I'm calling rising taxes, because everybody needs to live, right? They need to fill their tanks. They need to buy food. You need to buy, school supplies. I mean, all of these things that happen, if taxes go up, inflation, or if inflation goes up, that's a tax. If you take the AMT or minimum tax for companies we buy from, they're going to, they'll eat some of that in margin, but they're going to pass it on to the bottom
Yeah,
line.
it gets passed along. Just look at, when's the last time you went out to eat? I don't know about you, but we have a state and a local food tax,
Yeah.
so I mean, you're paying 10, 15% taxes on a meal.
Yeah. They're adding these fees. And that's what I want people to realize is the media is doing a job of targeting, 100 billionaires, but realize we are all going to pay, right? The fact that we have spending and likely we're spending another $4 trillion, which is so hard to say. Just know we're all going to be paying for that for the next 10 years. And it just is what it is.
Yeah, unless they decide to really test modern monetary theory and just start, say, hey, nobody's paying any taxes. We're just going to print.
Oh
We're
my
just going to
God.
print and pay for the spending.
That would scare me. That would be very bad. Yeah. So again, would it be fair to say that you agree that taxes are going up for everyone?
Oh yeah, they already have. I mean, it's already started. So yeah, it's going to affect everybody across the board, one way or the other, directly or indirectly.
I haven't
I mean, it's
asked
just
I haven't asked you this before. Do you believe when the Fed, when they talk about inflation being transitory, that famous word? What do you think of that when you hear that?
yeah, in some areas, I think it will be, but in other areas, it's here to stay, and it's not going to change. And I think what they're not talking about that is the biggest risk is stagflation, which is inflation and lower, overall productivity, and production. So, I think we're going to growth. So I think we're going to see higher inflation, lower growth, which is stagflation, all at the same time, and that's something they can't do anything about.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was interesting in our first video today. You talked
Higher
about
unemployment, lower productivity, more inflation is stagflation.
yeah, that's why I thought our first video today when you talked about 1970s, I need to go back and update my spreadsheet because I agree with you. I think the most likely outcome, at least in the near future, is stagflation, which
Yeah,
is
yeah. We're seeing stuff like the reopening trade, is transitory. Everybody's getting out, cabin fever, so prices are up for oil and food and things like that. But at the end of the day, there is a real employment problem out there. I mean, it's really interesting. We have high unemployment, but people can't find help. So that's an interesting dichotomy there. So it's costing more to employ people, to hire people. Companies are having to pay more, so they're going to pass that along to consumers, but people are making more. So it's really interesting. Oil, is up and down, but oil's up right now, and we don't know if and when that's going to come down. Retail goods, I mean, that's all based on supply and demand. If people are buying, prices will stay up. People stop buying, they'll go down. Technology products and things like that get cheaper over time. Traditionally, cars are through the roof right now. I don't see that coming down anytime soon because of materials, housing costs. Lumber's come down, but the price of a house hasn't, and the cost to build hasn't, because that's the only thing that's come down is lumber. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I think inflation is real in a lot of areas and it's here to stay.
yeah. What I think about this is there are transitory components: lumber, used cars, airline tickets. All those things will adjust as these things unlock. But what I see simmering and has only started just this last period. It'll be interesting because the PCE is reported Friday. Is the wage inflation is real, and then also I think the cost of housing, i.e., rent adjusted cost of housing, is only started to rise, and that's going to make PCE very sticky. I think it's going to be north of 3% for the next 18 months easily, and that eventually becomes a problem.
Yeah, that's a big number that nobody's talking about. They're not looking at as the cost of rental housing, and that as an inflationary tax on people, because it's just the opposite for the housing market. Affordability, like you just showed, is coming down, and payments are going down, but rents are going up.
Yeah, that's an amazing thing, right? When you look at that chart we did in our first video, it's more affordable to be a homeowner. Again, assuming average home, average income, all of that. I don't want to hear people talk about the Bay Area and New York. This is a national discussion, but rents are way up. I mean, I did another look at rents 5 years ago for the average home was like $950. Now it's $1,450. That's amazing, right?
Yeah, and that's another one for your spreadsheet would be to look at, rents to incomes across the board, and see how that affordability index and where that's headed. But yeah, it's a big issue. So it'll be interesting to see the Fed's meeting this week.
Yep.
They're probably going to come out and say the same thing. We see the same conditions. We're not doing anything.
Right.
We're going to run hot. And to their credit, we really can't say a whole lot till everything expires. We need unemployment to expire, which isn't until September. We need the forbearance to expire. We need all these things to expire before you really know what's the real effect, because people still don't have to go to work yet.
Yeah, it's very interesting times. So this has been a great discussion. I appreciate you every week. How can people be a part of your world?
Yeah, gregdickerson.com is the website. All my social media and everything is there, and gregdickerson.com.
Yeah, do yourself a favor. Follow him on YouTube. He's got a great channel, over 11,000 subs now, and he talks about a lot of entrepreneur stuff. I go there to get excited. So thanks for all you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.